All right, so we're here in an undisclosed location, John 5's Kiss Museum. Does it have a fancier name?
Not really, but I wanted to do this, so I moved all this stuff to your area.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the Fortress of Solitude, because this is like, it really is an undisclosed location.
It is, yeah.
When people want to come here, explain what they have to do.
Yeah, so they were given a drop-off point, and then, it sounds pretty silly, but they were given a drop-off point. Then a van shows up with like blacked out windows, and you have to, we take the cell phones and they lock them up so they can't find out the location, and they're dropped off, and then because you can't see out the windows, and then they're dropped back off, and then they're given their phones. So,
are they wearing like some kind of a covering over there?
No, that was maybe going a little too far, but I thought that would be really fun.
Yeah, but there are and you guys will see a lot of this, as we unfold this show. But you have, gosh, I don't know. You probably know, how many pieces do you have in here of Kiss memorabilia?
Probably a little over 5,000.
Gosh, and it's all from the makeup era.
Yeah, 73 to 83, I would say. Yeah, the Aucoin years, yeah.
The Aucoin years. And like I said, you could literally, like, when we were going through earlier, there is so much stuff, and we'll get into it all, but it really reminds me of being a kid, and you would go into a record store or bookstore, and you could stay for hours. You actually were on your knees showing me some of the books. I remember just being on my knees, just looking through all this stuff. There is so much to take in here as a Kiss fan of all eras. How did this whole thing even start, John, to get to this point?
I guess it started when I was a little kid and I got my first album, which was Love Gun. And then I started getting the dolls and the trash can and all that stuff. And I just started collecting when I was a kid, because I have a collective soul. And I just was collecting throughout the years. And I really, really enjoyed it, because I guess why people collect is it gives them a good feeling of their childhood and things like that. And I had a wonderful childhood, and I just kept collecting and just kept on building and building. But it is really difficult to do this, because to communicate with people in Brazil or Korea or Australia, it's really difficult to get this stuff. So it's been a passion. And what I want to do is not just build this huge collection, but really document everything. Document I have tons of paperwork, like contracts of their shows or any appearances, artwork, how they made things. So it's just such a huge, massive pile of documentation.
There is no other band in the world, including the Beatles, that has the fan base that Kiss has. I was just looking at Kiss podcasts, even now, 2 years after they have just not disbanded but are inactive. There is 10, 12, 15 Kiss podcasts, and maybe one Beatles.
Yeah.
No Stones, one Iron Maiden. So when you're talking about this type of memorabilia, it's an ardent fan base, it's a loyal fan base, and like you just said, it's a worldwide fan base.
Massive. When they went to Australia in 1980, they had, tens of thousands, like 50,000 people outside of the hotel. It's all documented. It's unbelievable. It looks like they're doing a concert, but that's just outside of the hotel. But it's really changed my life, your life, and tons of other bands that have come up that were influenced by these guys. And I really think it's important to try to keep everything under one roof, instead of it got burned in my fire, or there was a flood,
right?
Or my mom threw that away. Just so everything is kind of documented and safe. It's important. It's rock and roll history.
Did you start the collection with your stuff, or when did you start expanding it to acquire some of these other pieces?
I started, I guess, once you talk to certain collectors and they're like, oh, did you see this from Japan, or did you see this? And then it's just all the knowledge. And then you have to find out if it's really of that era. And then when the internet came, oh, forget it, man. The floodgates opened. It was just, there was just so much information, and so much, like, people would show their collections like in like any part of the country. And there's a lot of Canada stuff, a lot of Canadian stuff. Unbelievable. Like, and to track it down and to find someone that has it.
Right.
And to really hang on to that guy.
Yeah.
Because one day he's going to sell. One day everybody sells. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you can't take it with you.
Right. So how do you start to hammer somebody to get them to sell to you? Like, is there a network of sellers and traders and buyers?
It's funny. I never trade anything. If I have a double, but I will just talk to them, and I can tell if they're like, well, that's right when they start to sell. And people in our generation, because when we were growing up, we were kids in the 70s, and now at this point, people are now starting to get older and older and older of this generation, and they're starting to sell their collections to pay off their house or for medical or something like that. So that's happening a lot now. What's worrying me is the next generation. Are they going to be as influenced as we were?
Right. Well, that's the thing, because physical copies of anything are becoming less and less and less. Never mind all these posters that you have, and ticket stubs. Ticket stubs don't even exist anymore, right?
No.
So that's out the window.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, we'll we talked about Youngblood earlier. Will there be someone that has a Youngblood museum someday? Maybe, but it won't be with the same pieces that the Kiss museum would have.
Yeah, and also the Beatles. Like, you talk to kids today about the Beatles, they're like, I have no idea who you're talking about, and it's like, oh my God. My son's girlfriend was in here, and I was like, have you heard of Kiss? And she's like, I've never heard of Kiss. It's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just so weird for us to even fathom.
Yeah, that's right.
But they're in their own world, and what they're seeing is not, this is not.
But like you said, this is part of rock and roll history. And now that it is all under one roof, it makes me feel good as a Kiss fan to know that it's all here.
Yeah.
You're crewing it and bringing it in and making it almost like it's safe or whatever. Is there a certain temperature that you have this?
Yeah, absolutely.
This
and there's bars on all these windows. It's fireproof. And the guys, Gene, Paul, Ace, Peter, they like it too.
They know about this.
Oh yeah, they know that it's all here, and I'll ask them about things, and they'll give me information. But they kind of like that it's all here, you know, all under one roof. I mean, listen, there's a lot of costume pieces that I would love to get. This will never end. It's like shoveling sand, It's just, that's how massive these guys were all over the world. I don't think it'll ever end.
Well, because you keep finding new stuff. Like, I went to Gene's house a few years ago prior to the video recording, and I'm sure you've been there, has the museum with everything in it. And it's almost like this, probably with more stuff, but he's got all the toys and all of that difference. And he has a room upstairs full of Hello Kitty stuff.
Right.
So Gene has all of it.
He's got it for 50 years.
Right.
This is just 10 years.
Yeah.
Just imagine another 40 years
of stuff. Yeah.
It's like, it's like what, 900 square feet, and I can't find a space.
Yeah, there's no more room.
There's no more room. Like, behind all those shirts are stacks and stacks of the rarest posters you could ever imagine, so it is frustrating.
But like I was going to say, Gene has all the stuff and then Paul has nothing. He's got like one picture up on his wall or something like that.
Which is great.
So that's the difference, right? Yeah.
That's great. I love that. I think that's so cool. Peter has a lot of stuff still. I don't think Ace has that much, but yeah, Paul like just has, you know,
one picture.
yeah.
Black and white picture. So
Great.
what was the first piece that you ever acquired where you went to find a buyer or seller?
What I loved action figures when I was a little kid because I loved monsters, you know, and so I would always buy like dolls and I'd like hang on to them. But I would, the first thing I guess was the MEGO dolls. And I remember when they came out, and I came out in 1978, so I was like 8 years old. And I remember going to Toys R Us and thumbing through them like this, because there were so many Gene and Pauls. Tons of Gene and Pauls, like tons of, just same thing with today, you know, and trying to find an Ace, and you would find an Ace and a Peter, and but I love those,
right.
You know, they're wonderful. And interesting, in Montreal, and I'll show you after we're done talking, there was a lot of merchandise that came out just Montreal.
Really?
And it's all French Canadian. And that's the really tough stuff to get.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
really.
there wasn't
really
a lot
hard.
of it?
No.
Right.
And there were the dolls, and it's all in French, and the poster art set. There's a lot of the puzzles, so a lot of the toys, the model van, the remote control van, all in French. Pretty interesting.
So do you have kind of like I'm sure you do, like a want list, a wish list, where you're tracking down as many French Canadian collectors that you can find, or worldwide collectors looking for these pieces?
There is, and luckily people come to me and on my Instagram. So people come to me and send me messages. But when I say, oh, my white whale, my Holy Grail, what I'm looking for, I could tell you after. But if I told you, then the price goes up dramatically.
Sure.
You know, dramatically. And I've experienced that many times, you know, because they know I want it so bad.
And that's the thing too. I mean, you've had a very successful career with Manson, Rob Zombie, and your Motley Crue, your solo career, but you're paying for all this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes people will bring me magazines, or, you know, people will, when we go to different countries, I'll have, it's really funny. It's a crazy story. We'll go to like different countries, and there'll be all these people outside the hotel. And we walk in, nobody says anything, and because they're all holding Kiss stuff. And then I'm like, all right, everyone, come on over here, and like, you know, so there's like this group of people that are, you know, have like, oh, I have this and I have that, and I love it.
Oh, because you might buy some stuff from them, or?
Oh, absolutely. I totally buy stuff. Funny story. There was in Canada, it's bringing it up a lot. There was this guy in Montreal, and there was a mirror, actually that double platinum mirror right there. So he had that, and that was, you could only win that in 1979. It was a, like a prize.
Like at a fair or something?
Like a fair.
Yeah.
And it was, this thing is so rare. And mirrors are very obviously fragile, and you can't ship them, so it's really tough. So the guy didn't speak English, so I was like, listen, I will, you know, I'll send you the money, just save the mirror for me, and because we're going to be playing a show there. And the guy was like, I don't believe it's you. This is AI or something like that. So I had to send him a video of me talking to him. But anyway, so he brought the mirror to the show, and we were doing the show, and we flew in, and I am not like trying to like say, oh, blah, blah, blah. We flew in a private plane. I hate private planes. If I had any choice, she knows, if I had any choice, I would fly a commercial. I despise private planes. They terrify me. So we were in this private plane, and I said, hey guys, and it was me, Nikki, and Tommy. We were flying, about to get on the plane, and I had this mirror, and I said, you guys, please, you know, and it's not like a big plane. So and I didn't want to take it out of the box. So the box was really big. So I'm holding this box the whole time, and Tommy's right here, and Nikki's got to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, we're like turning it, and it's like, you know, again, but I got it here. So yeah, they get a little annoyed sometimes. They're like, oh man, Jesus, you know.
But once again, it's interesting because I just went to a friend of mine, Danny Boy O'Connor from House of Pain, owns the Outsiders house in Tulsa.
Oh, really?
Yes, this house that they filmed the Outsiders in.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes, but they've now, the city of Tulsa has made it into a museum. It's a landmark museum.
I love that.
So he has the Outsiders equivalent of this, where people will send him things.
I never knew.
Yeah. Next time you're in Tulsa, you got to go check it out. It's amazing.
I can watch things on collections all day. And there was the Christmas Story house.
Okay, yeah.
So somebody bought that and made that into a museum, and we went, and you could put on the bunny thing and the whole thing. So I went there with Zombie and all that stuff, and we were in like the whole thing.
Right?
But I have to go to that. I'm going to look that up. That's amazing.
Just let me know. I'll text Danny. He'll love to have you. But he has, Dallas Winston's brown leather jacket, and he's got Soda Pop Curtis's gas station outfit.
Yeah.
So people are finding these things now that the word is out and calling. I'm like, hey, do you have an interest in this? Do you have the same experiences where people are calling you?
Apps all the time. It just happened just the other day. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. Like, I'd say a couple times a week, and I love it.
On your Instagram.
On my Instagram.
Knights in Satan Service.
Yeah, Knights in Satan Service. And so I don't merge it with mine because the Knights in Satan Service, it's not that big, so I can see all the messages.
Right.
Yeah. So it's wonderful because people don't really know how to get a hold of me, but there was this one time just recently, like maybe 3 weeks ago, my publicist sent me an email and said, this guy's trying to get a hold of you. And I don't know how he got a hold of my publicist, but she said, oh, he has an Ace vest. And I was like, Ace vest? That could mean anything. So he had Ace's vest from 77, like the Love Gun vest. And he said he got it when he was a kid, and the a coin warehouse, Bill of Coin, wasn't paying the bill. And so people were coming in and just were buying stuff. Unbelievable. And he's had it for all these years. He got it in the early 80s.
I mean, let's talk about some of these actual pieces, because once again, we've got so many posters, and there's other things to discuss, albums and cards and ticket stubs, but you've got actual stage-worn outfits.
Oh, yeah.
And even just for me, like, after all these years of all the experiences we had, just to touch Ace's space costume and the green fur on Peter's, I mean, that's like super surreal.
Yeah.
Where did you get those major pieces?
It's I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth, like with all this stuff, but Peter's was left in a backstage area. It was left. And back in 1979, somebody picked it up and had it for all that time.
Jeez.
And he said, I have this and all that stuff. He wasn't a big Kiss fan, but like it was literally just left and everybody was gone. Mm-hmm. And so I bought that off the guy, and the green fur I got from Peter, and the belt that Paul's wearing on the cover of Powder in Hell from 74.
Which is so small, by the way. It doesn't even fit around your waist.
Yeah, it's really teeny. It's crazy. Yeah. So Paul traded it to this guy for a ring because in 1975, and I have the note right near the thing, in Port Huron, Michigan, Paul traded it for this piece of jewelry because Paul's probably like, it's just old,
it's sweaty old piece of leather.
Yeah, take it. And he gets this nice ring from it. And I got it from that guy. So, and then Gene's Destroyer boots.
Those are amazing too. His actual boots from Destroyer.
Yeah.
So these are the last ones.
Yeah, that's only surviving pair. And
that's what he wore on the Destroyer tour.
Yeah, and Rock and Roll Over. So yeah, those are it. Probably most famous piece of costume piece there is.
And where did you get those?
This guy in Japan had them, and he had an exhibit going on, and he had the the boots, and he had like the bass from that era. And yeah, I'll show you, but you pull those little scales back and there's so much blood and mold.
Oh yeah.
And when I got them, they smelled so bad that I had to keep them outside for a long time. They smelled because they were like
Makes
so
sense.
much mold.
Like old hockey equipment or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy. So just to, to keep it all intact, and that bass drum head right there, that's a cover of Alive.
Oh
that was on the cover of Alive. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So
my question is, how are people, I mean, someone's got to have it, right? But like, how do people get this? Like, how did he get the bass drum cover from Kiss Alive?
And there's so many fun stories. So they shot that at the Michigan Palace, the cover of Alive. They did the photo shoot.
And you're up from around Michigan, aren't you?
So yeah.
Gotcha.
So kind of everybody knows each other in this little area, and the Michigan Palace had a big flood, and they had, in Michigan, there's all basements, and in Michigan, everything floods because it's all the lakes. So there were all this stuff from like Iggy Pop and like MC5 and Aerosmith and all these bands. All this stuff in the basement was flooding because they would just leave their old broken shit and just toss it, whatever. So they had a flood, and the guy from the Michigan Palace calls my brother-in-law, goes, "Hey, your brother-in-law likes Kiss. We have some stuff here." And it was all the stuff from 1974, 75. And he, the reason that head was taken off, because they shot the video for Rock and Roll All Night, and the logo is so dull. It's just sparkle on there.
Yeah, okay.
So they put a new bass drum head on there. So if you look at Alive, it's really dull. But then when you look at Rock and Roll All Night, the video, it's very sparkly now. So they just took it off and just tossed it. It was nothing.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's where that came from. There's always all these little stories.
But that's the thing. Every piece has a story to it, right?
Everything has a story, and it's a lot.
I've never seen. There's a piece over here with Ace. Is that his original costume? It says Ace written on it.
Yeah.
With a kind of a weird cape. I've never seen that before.
So that's from Dynasty. And people, when they
Dynasty?
came... Yeah.
Wow.
From Dynasty. When people came in, they were like, it's so small, but it's spandex.
Right, of course.
So that is from Dynasty. That's his cape from Dynasty. And those boots that are on the side are from Dynasty as well. So, but Ace was going to do a photo shoot for one of his records, and he's wearing the silver suit. He was going to wear the cape. So he's like, "Hey, give me the cape," and I was like,
Let's talk about the ticket stubs that you had, and what your goal is for that.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. But when we would go to concerts back in the day, we would get ticket stubs, tickets, and they'd rip them and say, "Here you go." So, it's such a... We would save our ticket stubs, and we cherished them. They were remembered. And what I'm trying to do, which is totally ridiculous, is trying to get a ticket show from every show. And it's really fun to do that. And I'm pretty close, but not really. But it's going to be a long time, because just imagine you're at the show, rip the ticket, and you put that in your pocket and you save it for 50, 49, 48, 47, 46 years. And then to still have it, just this little stub.
Yeah, because there were small tickets then too.
Yeah, just to keep it for that time is pretty incredible. But it's a lot of fun, and I have a lot of them. But then there's a book that documents all of their shows.
I was going to say, you must have to have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I cross all that stuff. But we are both touring musicians.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for a long time. But bands in the 70s, bands would play, this is crazy to me, 250 shows a year.
Unbelievable.
Rush, Kiss, Aerosmith. They would do these shows and then do two records. And if we do like 100 shows, we're like, oh,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
a different
like,
world. Yeah.
it's a different world.
Yeah.
They would go boom, boom, dude, show after show after show. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable to think about that.
Well, yeah, and it's unbelievable to think that you are getting close to having a ticket stub from almost all those shows.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot, and they're not cheap. Let me tell you, they are not cheap.
How much would a ticket stub average?
Depends on the year and the condition of the ticket, but it can go from 150 to 300.
Okay, that's a lot
Yeah,
for a little piece of paper, essentially.
yeah, yeah.
So is it rated like, if you're collecting cards, like, wrestling cards or hockey cards or probably even Kiss cards, they grade them. A 10 is the highest. Is it the same with ticket stubs too?
Yeah, I mean, you want everything in nicer condition, and that's what's fun. I do upgrades and things like that, and then just trade the other things. But I'm being honest with you with this, because I really believe in karma, and people that are watching this that I've done business with can really verify this. Sometimes people will say that don't really know what things are worth. Oh, I'll give you this. And I'll say, well, listen, I'll give you double that just because it's worth this much more.
Yeah.
Because I would never want someone to say, oh, I sold this to this person and I got it. Oh, you could have got it for this much. Because I just believe just to be a good person in that way, and just really keep it honest.
It's like heavy metal Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
So do people sometimes come to you and they want too much for it, and you got to say, hey, it's not worth that much?
And then there's a great documentation of what the last thing was sold for. But if it's something really rare, like the Ace outfit, guy didn't know. He's just had this thing in his house for 40 something years, and he goes, oh, I'll take this for it. And I said, well, I'll give you this much for it. And it was way, way, way more than he was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
So,
but you're fair with it though. Like you said, it's fair. Yeah.
It's I can, sleep at night.
Yeah. Talk about how things were done in the 70s as far as album promotion, for example.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
God, there was, when a record was coming out, they would have someone from the record company carry a big book or a folder and sell it to these record stores of like what it's going to look like, what they're thinking it's going to sell, how many they're going to buy, and the promotion and these hanging mobiles behind us. These are all hanging mobiles, the mobiles that would just spin around in the store. And I thought that was really fun, because I would remember going into record stores and seeing this stuff.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's so cool. I remember vividly the solo albums and Love Gun. The reason I got into Kiss was because seeing the Love Gun stand up right there advertising Love Gun. And I was, because I loved Monsters and I loved music, and I was like, oh, it's like Monsters with guitars. And so my mom bought it, and I was so happy. But you see, like with the records, you see hype stickers and it says like $5.95 for the record, but you think that's nothing. But back in 1977, it's like that would be, I don't know, 30 something bucks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of cash,
for a kid,
Yeah.
So, but luckily I had, cool parents that got me that stuff. But back in the 70s, man, there was so much promotion, commercials, stand-ups, like appearances, autograph sessions, You don't get that stuff anymore.
I liked you were talking about the portfolio where they has like the cover of the albums, and this is what we're projecting, and it said that they'll buy ads for this album in front of Laverne and Shirley, or during Happy Days, and during 8 Is Enough. It's like all the top shows of the day.
Shows, yeah.
We promise that we're going to buy ads during these shows, so you will sell these records. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and it's cool to have that documentation.
Yeah.
And you know,
Gene.
it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
See that? See that? Everything
is that
in
the
here
phone?
everything in here is 70s.
It should be a Kiss phone.
I know. That's like, it's like the funny, the Kiss bat
It said
phone.
it's Gene on the line right now.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Don't forget to push the,
But when you're, we were talking about just how cool just to see that vibe of, you know, like it was so much more of a like a traveling salesman in a lot of way.
That's
in a lot of ways,
actually what it was.
you know, and just to learn that. Like, I guess what I wanted to ask you is, have you learned other things about the record business that maybe you didn't know from your collections?
Oh, sure. How it was so primitive, though. It was so primitive of how it was. I mean, trying to sell these records to these people and doing radio appearances and just the contracts, because I have a lot of contracts maybe I shouldn't have, but they were just paperwork that were just going to be thrown
like
away.
record contracts, you mean?
Record agreements, publishing splits.
Wow.
And guarantees for shows. And how they would sometimes collect and sometimes they didn't get paid, you know, or things like that, you know, just crazy stuff.
What would a guarantee for a Kiss show be, you know, whatever year you have? You probably have every year, but.
I don't know, like, I have it over here, I'll show you, but it's for the amount and how big it was, I thought it would be way more, but you got to think back in 1977 or 76, like if it was like $20,000, that's a lot more.
Right, like you said, times
today.
5.
Yeah.
But still, their production was so huge.
Huge.
And it was all practical effects for
yeah.
us horror movie fans. It wasn't like you could just put up a screen and, you know, digitize things or whatever. It was all, we need, you know, a Kiss sign. We got to cart in a giant, you know, 20-foot K.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's interesting to see how things were put together. Like on the back of Alive 2, you know, Gino, he's all sweaty and there's blood and all that stuff. All that blood was put in. That blood was not on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was all like that.
Added in post.
Added in.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting, huh? I never knew that.
I had no idea. So do you have the original piece or something? How did you know
I
that?
have, I have, the original like pieces
Wow.
of that stuff. Yeah. And they're like test pressing. So when we're making vinyl now, you and I, and you would get a test pressing from, but when Kiss was going into their studio to make their first record, they were like so excited. And Peter told me, we were so excited we got there early, like really early, went to Bell Sound Studios in New York, and we just didn't know what to do. So we just went to McDonald's and all just ate and waited for us to go in. But after we recorded our songs and all that stuff, we got our test pressing to go home and listen to. And I have the test pressing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So just cool stuff like that.
You know, I was just thinking, doing some math in my head. So we're as close to Kiss in 1975 as Kiss was to 1925 at that time. So think of that, of the technology advancement in those 50 years. I mean, it's just unbelievable to think how, another one that we were talking about earlier is the tour, the itinerary. You know, we now have apps where you can go through the app and see what you got to do or whatever it may be. They have binders full of
big
this information.
school
Talk
binders,
about that.
you know, and so their itineraries. What I remember having a book when I was like doing Katie Lang and Marilyn Manson. We'd have these little
90s
books.
still, right?
Yeah,
Early
90s.
2000s, yeah.
But then when everything started to get more digital, I remember still Rob Zombie, we would still have it like 2005, 2006. We'd still have the book. And I love the books, you know, because I like to keep
The
things.
physical copy, yeah.
Yeah. But then our tour manager was like, all right, your itinerary is in your email address. I'm like, we don't get books anymore? And we were so bummed. We were like, oh, man. And, you know, with Motley, we're like, we don't, you know, like this is a drag, you know. Sometimes there's not Wi-Fi. But I think it was Nikki made him give us like, you know, analog, you know, itineraries. But Kiss, what they had were big school, like looking binders, and it would tell you, you know, when you're going to get picked up, the hotel you were going to be at, all this stuff, how everything was planned out for that tour. And there is, this story goes back to the itineraries, but I was buying a car, and you know how they're like, okay, well, give me your name and number and I'll call you, you know, and I gave him my name, and they were like, this is John 5, you know, and I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, I was in the business before. I was Ace's guitar tech on the Love Gun tour.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, really? You were Ace's guitar tech? He's like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he was talking, and I was like, I'm going to look this up, because he didn't know I had the itinerary. So I open up the itinerary, go through the crew, and sure enough, there's his name. Unbelievable.
It would have been great if you found out he was lying. You have all the information.
Yeah.
You're the guy either way. You're the verifying.
And I actually took a picture and showed him.
That's great.
And
that
I
is
said,
really cool.
dude, here you are.
Wow.
Yeah. Funny.
Let's talk about some of the other rare pieces that you showed me. There's 4 party hats over here.
Yeah.
And it says Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult, and
Leslie West
Leslie
Band.
West Band, right? Of course, Leslie from Mountain.
Yeah.
What are those?
So at New Year's Eve at Nassau Coliseum, New Year's Eve rock and roll party of the year. So there's the concert poster too.
Over there, yeah.
It was turning 1976, so they played 1975, and these are just party hats that you would get passed out. There was a gold, a silver, a red, and a green. And everybody would wear their silly hats to celebrate and throw them and all that stuff. But to find those and to collect those from now 50 years old.
Yeah, from one night.
From one night.
Right.
It's pretty cool, because a lot of people would just throw those away, or maybe keep them for a couple of years and throw them away.
This is junk, right?
Yeah. And then if you see those 4 masks that are hanging up. So that was at one show as well. That was in 75, October of 1975. So what was going on? It was Halloween, or the night after Halloween. And they were passing out these masks so everybody could put the mask on.
Like the cardboard kind of mask we
Yeah.
used to wear when we were kids, yeah.
So one show, the reason they use these for one show, and this is pretty interesting story, true story. There was this lighting guy, and he was working the spot, and somebody was on someone's shoulders, and right in front of the spotlight guy. And this is the 70s, you know, it's a different day. Yeah. So they were like, you know, the lighting guy was like, get down, I got to, you know, shoot the band. They were like, get down. And the person with the mask on turned around and went like this to the lighting guy.
Gave the finger, yeah.
So the lighting guy got up off his thing, went over there, and punched right in the mask, punched the person, went down, mask came off. It was a girl. So no more masks.
Right.
So just to have those 4 masks. Or
did you buy all those at a set, the party hats from one guy?
God, no.
Oh,
It
you had to
took
track
me
them down one by one?
Years and years. And it's cool because, like, the masks, some of them have, like, footprints on them because they would just walk on them. You know,
exactly.
it's just on the floor. Yeah. But isn't that interesting? I just love, like, these.
All the stories that you're picking. The stories are worth almost as much as the piece itself.
It's so interesting. It's really a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. Concerts were different, you know, like those cups right there. They were, Pepsi put out these cups, and they're called Scream Machines. And this is so smart. At the bottom of the cup, pop it out, and you could scream into it.
Oh, like a bullhorn.
It's like a bullhorn. How smart is that? But of course, Kiss, they had to do 5 different colors, and it takes forever.
But do you remember that from The Sims? I remember McDonald's would have like limited edition Return of the Jedi glasses, like glasses. You try and collect all of those.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there was always something cool that there would be some kind of a connection with the restaurant and the band.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have quite a those from Kiss.
Yeah.
Being the masters of marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's such a special time, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that we lived through it,
Right.
and got to experience it.
Great time to be a kid.
You know,
Talk about some of the Kiss merch though, because they were selling everything.
everything from. So in America, there were the Kiss cards. There were 2 series: the Kiss dolls, the trash can, jewelry, Halloween costumes, puzzles, on-tour games, wireless microphones, buttons. There were remote-controlled toys. There were makeup kits. There were Slurpee cups, which are called Magic Market cups. There were songbooks. There were everything you could imagine. Now you go to South America or Europe. There were Kiss cards that were just in Europe. There were puzzles. There were posters, of course, posters in America too, and all the records and cassettes and the 8-tracks. Australia, you had underwear, you had cereal, you had popsicles, you had puzzles, you had their own masks, you had Maybelline hair combs. You had these things called a poster, like a poster pack, and you would get a poster and some candy and a sticker. Now, stickers were really big back in the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Italy, which I'll show you after this, they put out these stickers, and they were like these prism stickers. There has to be 500 different ones.
Wow.
And trying to deal with people like with the language barrier in Italy to find, oh, do you have the Peter Criss that's orange and blah, blah, blah at this size? It's really tough.
Yeah.
You know? So, but all that stuff
it's an endless list.
It's an endless list.
Yeah.
And the pinball machine too.
Yeah.
You know? And then this pinball machine is from America. That one's from Germany. If you can tell, the Kiss S's are round. To get a pinball machine here, it's just almost impossible. But it's a sad story. But so the guy that takes care of this pinball machine has been doing these pinball machines since the 70s, putting them in arcades here in the Valley. And he said he unboxed tons of these. And I said, in all the years, have you ever seen a German Kiss pinball machine? He goes, I know one person that has it, and he's a pinball collector. He just collects pinball machines. Not a big Kiss fan, but he knows it's super rare. So he has these pinball machines. And he goes, it's funny. It's not far from where you live. And I said, well, maybe if you're over there servicing these machines, could you maybe grab a picture? I'd just love to see a picture. He said, sure. Years goes by, and he said, hey, gives me a call. It's so weird to get a call from your pinball machine guy. And he goes, hey, are you interested in this Kiss pinball machine, the German one? I said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, he's selling? He goes, well, he had a heart attack and died.
Oh.
So he had to sell something like 1,700 pinball machines.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I got that. Crazy.
So talk about that quickly. You mentioned, I was going to ask you about it anyways, the S's in Germany, why they're actual S's, and that opens up a whole new can of collectible worms for you now.
Right. So back in the day, you know, Kiss were releasing these records, and the S's look like the SS,
Hitler's
the
SS,
Nazi SS. So they're like, well, we can't have this, and so we got to change on the records, and we got to change it on all the merchandise. But there's some that got through. And because, again, it's the 70s. It's not like all of us here in this room, we could just email the artwork to your new record coming out. But it wasn't like that. So a lot of things got through the cracks. Probably not on purpose, but just like out of a mistake.
Yeah.
But the real hard thing that Kiss had to do is their sign
Right.
had to be modified. They were probably like, oh.
with curvy S's.
The light bulb guy was like, "Oh man," So that's interesting because that just threw a whole wrench in it.
But I'm also sure there's so many pieces from Germany now with the German version of the logo.
Oh sure, yeah. I have hundreds of pieces with just the round S's and some of the other S's. But when Kiss hit Japan, and their first single, their first record in Japan was actually Dressed to Kill. It wasn't even the first record. But when people were starting to hear about Kiss, it was massive in Japan too. People went crazy. And this is why I love stuff from Japan. Chris, whenever I get a chance to get things from Japan, I will show you this stuff is like brand new because they take such good care of it.
Right.
It was like, I mean, when I say such good care of it, it looks like it's brand new. But they would have these things where if you bought something at the store, you could buy this and this and get this and get like a reward or a prize. So there were these. This was one of the hardest things I had to complete. In like I think it was, I forget what year, late 70s. There were these cassettes that came out, and it was the first album and Hotter Than Hell, and then the next one was Dressed to Kill and Destroyer and so on and so forth. And then it was Love Gun and Rock and Roll Over. So it was the front and back. It's all in Japanese. And if you bought all three, you would get these binoculars, and it was like, and those are right there if you want to shoot those.
Yeah.
So just to find one, yes, right there, just to find one of those cassettes is so hard to do. But what I did is, and I'm almost there, because I want to display the first album and the second album, and Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. So if there's three of them to display front and back, I would have to have six.
Right.
I have five there, but I have a complete set. But I just want to get the complete where I could show front and back.
That's amazing.
So it's just a terrible sickness. But just to find one of those is impossible. Yeah.
And do you know that all these things exist, or sometimes you hear of toys or some sort of merch or memorabilia that you didn't even know existed?
A lot of times I didn't know if something existed. Mm-hmm. That's when the smell test comes in, because people can mock things up with the digital and you can know if it's real.
Yeah.
But with posters from Canada, they use such a thin paper. Now I'm going into real forensic things, but they use such a thin paper. I know what kind of paper they used in Canada. So I can tell if something's real or not, but you can't fake a smell.
Oh, wow. So legitimate smell test.
Yeah, legitimate. You can smell it and you can tell if it's old, and how cardboard ages over decades. So I have just regular cardboard and this just for tests, So you can really tell that way. It's interesting.
Let's talk about as we start to wind down.
It's crazy.
It's so much. It's blowing my mind.
It's just, and it's why do I know all this stuff? I don't know. I don't even know who the vice president is.
I was going to say, what does your wife think of all this? She's probably part of the package of the deal.
Yeah, she. It's kind of like that sigh of disappointment, like. It's that kind of thing.
Well, because once again, too, a piece comes up, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Talk about the 8-track tapes. And once again, artifact from the past. Yeah. But you have dozens and dozens and dozens over there. Yeah. Are they easier to find, or is it getting to be more and more difficult?
For some reason, 8-tracks were very popular in the 70s, so everybody had them. But they are getting now we're getting into the Columbia House. I don't know if you remember Columbia House.
11 cassettes for a penny.
And they had that for 8 tracks and all that stuff. So I'm not just getting, and a lot of these 8 tracks, most of them, I'd say 90% were in America. There's some from France, there's some from South America, and I think there's a couple from Japan. But I mean, just very few. Most of them are from America. But you could say, oh, okay, I have the first debut from Kiss on 8-track. But then what I'm doing is I'm getting them from each plant they were pressed.
Oh my God.
Because they're variants. And then from Columbia House, maybe they're a different color.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So it's just, if there's just a little serial number difference, then I'm grabbing it just to document. So why I'm documenting all this stuff is I'm going to put together this group of books. I mean, when this is airing, you could just put, dork over my head,
I'm enthralled. So enthralled dork on my side.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this series of books out. The first one's going to be called Wear It Out Loud. Of all the shirts, the promoter shirts, the parking lot shirts, the pajamas, the jeans, the image clothing, the iron-ons, everything you would wear. So it's going to be called Wear It Out Loud. And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shirts. Their first shirt, I don't know if you could see it right there.
Yeah.
That with the Kiss logo, they just made that with sparkle and things like that.
That's one of the handmade ones?
Yeah, that's one of the handmade
ones. Paul's mom made that or something?
Yeah. They would just make them, like Lydia Criss would make them, and so
that's like a holy grail almost. Like, where did you find that? I guess where you find all of it, but that's super, super rare.
Oh yeah, and then the one right next to it with Humphrey Bogart, it says Casablanca. That's the very first shirt that Casablanca had, but they couldn't have Humphrey Bogart on there, so they couldn't, it was just a shirt that they, but it's just, so I'm going to have these books so everybody can enjoy this stuff, everybody can enjoy it. Then the next book will be toys, and the next book will be vinyl, and the book after that will be buttons and, it's jewelry. So it will be this crazy volume of all these books.
But it will sell too. Kiss fans are that fanatical.
Yeah, it's just so people can have it. And I will tell you this right now on the air, this stuff is not going to be overpriced. It is going to be priced to sell. So everybody can buy it. It'll be like a $50 book.
That's great.
With hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces inside that. I just don't like to charge a lot of money for things where people just, we play these shows. A lot of people don't have a lot of money, and I like to do things priced to sell. It's going to be very inexpensive to get this stuff. Yeah.
Do you run tours here quite often, or just when you're not on the road, or how often do you have people in here checking the stuff out?
It was only one time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was an ongoing thing.
No, it was at one time.
Oh, okay.
And I just tried it. I was like, let's, give it the old high school try and see what happens.
Yeah.
Everybody bought the tickets. There was no tickets left. And it was so fun for them and so fun for me. So you'd look at everything, ask questions, just like we're doing now.
Yeah.
We'd play each other in pinball.
You're like the curator.
Yeah. And they loved it. Dude, people had tears in their eyes because just think of things that we did back in the day, and we could go, if you had loved all the wrestling stuff and you collected all the stuff when you were a kid, and you go to this museum and just takes you back.
And just be able to find it all. I collected Star Wars dolls.
Yeah.
The little ones. And then after I moved away, I came home one summer and I was just looking for them. My mom had sold them at a garage sale.
That's what happens.
And that's what happens. And then you're like, what the hell am I?
That's what happens.
Yeah.
It's what happens.
Yeah.
And, or there's a fire or a flood or
whatever, maybe.
Or a angry ex-wife or something.
Yeah.
And just throw stuff away. And that's it. That's why I'm just trying to keep everything under one roof, you know, and it'll never end.
Well, I was going to say, what are you going to do when you get more pieces? Do you have to expand, or are you going to rotate, or what are you going to do?
That's a great question. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. And I'm
because you know it's out there.
It keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
You know, what are you stressed about? You stressed about the show? No, I'm trying to figure out where to put the Kiss stuff. I might knock this ceiling out and go, just go up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
I mean, like I said, you seem very driven on getting more, and you're going to have to. You know, I was going to ask you this as well. Last few things. Do you think it's harder to get pieces because you're John 5, or easier to get pieces if you're John 5?
I think it is maybe a little easier because they know that I'm not going to rip them off or talk them down or not pay for shipping or insurance. You know?
Yeah.
I usually, if someone asks, like I'm just being honest with you, you know, if someone goes, this is what I want for it, most of the time I go, okay, you know, because when are you going to see it again?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you pay, you know, a couple $100 over asking price, it's okay. When are you going to see it again?
Yeah.
And you know what's weird? You know what's scary? All this stuff I will sell one day because I'm not going to be here.
Right.
You know, maybe, you know, after I perish, you know, then the warden will probably sell it, you know. So everything will be sold.
Yeah.
And that's what's strange.
But it's almost like you want to do it the way that Danny did it in Tulsa and have an actual official museum. But what city would it be in? New York, maybe Detroit? Like, where would you do with it? Because this is the type of place that would do business.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You know, it totally would.
And the other thing about it, it's so fragile. It's so
you're right.
Fragile.
It's almost 60 years old for some of these things.
It's so hard to move this stuff.
Yeah.
All these things, like these mirrors. Like I've had some, you know, like some. Oh God, there's this one time. Oh, this is the worst story. It's the worst story. You know what? I'm going to say what it is because maybe someone watching it will say, I have that.
Okay. What do you got?
So there was, it's even hard to say, with those cups. So the cups are they're very old and they're very fragile. Now, this is just plastic.
Yeah.
And plastic starts to disintegrate over time. So there was this one time I was moving them and the orange Kiss Scream Machine, if anybody's watching, if anybody has one, just crumbled in my hand. It just crumbled. So I was like, you know, the guy with the Christmas story with the leg, you know, trying to glue the leg together.
Yeah.
That was me just trying. But that's how fragile this stuff is.
Yeah, it starts to rot essentially, right?
Yeah. That was a terrible, terrible day.
Do you, I don't want you to say the exact item because you mentioned it will drive the price up. Is there certain types of items that you're still interested in getting, some extra toys or some certain albums that you can't find, or is there?
Yeah, there is a couple things that I'm dying for, and I'll let you know, but I don't want to say it because people will say it. Maybe we can, in editing, you can go that.
Yeah. Can we do that? Yeah, we can beep it.
You know what it is?
What?
It's.
Yeah. Jeez. I guess last thing, is there what's your favorite piece in here?
I think my favorite piece is Gene's first outfit there.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And that was, and he told me about that. You know, do you ever see that Donahue interview with Gene, 1974, very early? He's got the skull here, and then the skull is now on the back, and there's he opened it up here, and I emailed him and I said, Gene, why'd you put the skull on the back? He said, because you'll touch that after we're done, because it's such heavy leather, and he couldn't breathe. So they
right.
cut this and put the skull on the back. But he said that was his very first outfit, and he would ride on the subway with it.
Holding it.
Yeah, holding it.
Yeah.
You know? But it was made with such amazing craftsmanship. Maria Contessa made these outfits. And when we're done, we'll walk over there. You'll feel the stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. 52 years old, that thing is.
See, once again, just how well made everything is, and just the craftsmanship of it.
Oh,
Like I said,
man.
just touching it and seeing it. And, you know, it's like we mentioned earlier, you see it in a picture 100 times and you see it in real life. And it's like, wow, I can't believe this exists.
Yeah. And he was so little.
Yeah.
He was so little.
Yeah, they all were, right? Last question. Favorite Kiss song?
You know, it's probably, and this is very strange, but I think Going Blind.
Oh, wow. Good
It's so Beatle-y.
Yeah.
It's so Beatle-y.
That's a good call.
It's a great song. Great song. Yeah, I love that. I love that song.
Well, dude, what a great place. What a great place. Amazing. And you have to have me back when you have the second floor.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm seriously considering it. It's like,
You just got to get permission from the warden.
yeah,
If you know, you
I know. Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you, dude.
Awesome stuff.
All right.